faith, family, and everything else that matters to you from a godly point of view. Welcome to the Clear Branch Methodist Podcast.
Hey, welcome in. It is time for another edition of the Clear Branch Methodist Podcast. My name is Mark. I'm one of the pastors at Clear Branch Methodist Church in Trussville, Alabama. With me, as usual, our lead pastor, Mr. Jeremy Alville.
Hey. How are y'all, folks? It's good to be here. Great to be in conversation with you again. Mark, always a joy to begin a podcast and to be able to play that into the day and get it ready for opportunities for people to hear it and engage with it and learn and for us to learn in the midst of it. I think that happens all the time. So
I agree. I believe so. Just hanging out with you and the lawn guy outside, cutting the grass.
For sure. That's right. It's one of those beautiful days
spring
here. It is. Spring has definitely sprung, and we've got a lot of rain, and that's made it really, really springy. It grows a lot, the grass and the trees and everything else. So yeah, it's wonderful.
Are you like me where you have to actually search for opportunities to cut the grass?
Yeah. In fact, this week, because of the rain that was on the horizon for the next week, I actually cut it earlier than I would have normally. We had so much rain that the grass had just grown astronomically, and I knew if I didn't get it done, I would probably not be able to see the road for the grass. So, yeah,
which is where I am with baseball season which is now finally over. With baseball season with our kids, we were never home on the evenings. My grass, I'm afraid of what's at ground level in my yard right now.
Oh yeah, you're afraid that there's like toys and stuff hidden out there,
or creatures of some sort. I'm afraid our yard has become like the trash compactor in Star Wars.
Oh, I see.
I think there's something moving out there. I don't know what
it is. Yeah. Well, we have had a pretty radical transformation of our front yard over the past past 2 years, really. And it really is starting to look more like a yard than a desert wasteland. And if you've ever been to our house, we've got this ridiculous hill. Yeah. And so it was really hard for a long time. We spent a lot of time and effort with the help of a good buddy of mine, Brandon Lockhart, doing some stuff to the yard that's made a radical difference. And so we've put down sod and we've spread seed and we've done all these things. We continue to fertilize. And if you're a grass person, 10-10-10 and 16-4-8 probably means something to you as they do to me now. But most people could care less about that. Hemachar and all that stuff.
I just go pick up what bag I'm supposed to pick up from the Home Depot.
Exactly. And so anyhow, we've had a pretty awesome time getting that up and running. Got a new lawnmower this past week, which is, I've never been as excited about having a new gadget for the yard. That probably sounds really silly. If you had told 13-year-old me who made money cutting yards that there would be a day where I was like, a new lawnmower, he would never have believed it.
That's part of maturing. It's like you reach they say all guys have to reach a point in their life where they have to decide, am I going to be into smoking meat or into World War II? And
I like that.
You reach a point in your life
that's inevitable. So I do a lot of the meat smoking. I have an egg, and I love doing that. I have yet to get into World War II, though I will admit to you here lately, I've been listening to lots of podcasts and watching Vietnam in HD. So It's not World War II for me. It's the Vietnam War right now, as I'm learning about the SOG groups, the special operation groups, which are super interesting. Highly trained, specialized groups of men who go out for these specific purposes, and their stories are unbelievable. So that's what I have been. Maybe I'm retroactively, or maybe I'm working backwards. Vietnam, which was really more the war of our early life.
Yeah.
And then maybe World War II.
Maybe for the next generation above, it was World War II. Maybe for us, it's more Vietnam.
Maybe so. Oh my gosh, I've become that person. Oh, heavens. How is this possible?
Going to start wearing the socks up to your knees with sandals. And
I've already got the Hawaiian shirt on. Oh, I'm doomed.
Wow.
Dad life.
There you go. There you go. Almost empty nester life for you.
Oh, it's getting close.
Got one more.
We got one in college. We've got one that'll be a junior next year in high school, and he is 15 going on 26.
20 feet tall.
Yeah, he's taller than I am, and little man child. And but they're both home. James came back last Friday. It's been great to have them home. And they're doing their things, and our house is full of kids again. Which is, John has his buddies, but when you have John's buddies and then you have James's buddies, it's like a cornucopia of children, and so of young adults, and they're just always around.
Which you've always enjoyed that. You've always enjoyed having the house that is the hangout house.
Absolutely. And our house has been that way for a long time. So I love it. I do. You walk in and you never know what do they watch? They're all watching Star Wars on, May the 4th, or they're doing something else. They're deciding they're going to, get pizza and come to the house and hang out. And
well, your house is laid out for that too. I noticed it Monday when we had our staff gathering for sermon planning a couple weeks ago. I noticed that your house is very well. It's not cluttered up. It's very much set out for gathering.
Yeah, it is.
And I know that's on purpose.
Yeah, well, it began that way, of course, because of Crosshaven, but it's really kind of coming to its own as this place where teens and even early 20s are kind of coming and hanging out, and it's a lot of fun. So it's good to have a home that functions that way, and we're grateful for it. What a blessing it is, and we desire to be a blessing to all those that come and hang out. So that's what we're doing. So,
which brings us to the sermon from Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about kindness and goodness.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
faithfulness.
Yeah, all these nesses, all these good things that we talk about, and that's all part of Galatians 5, 22 and 23. Yeah.
So we're in the middle of the sermon series.
We are, yeah.
Fruit of the Spirit, called Got Fruit.
Yeah, Got Fruit, right?
And an homage to the old
Got Milk.
Dairy Association ads from farther back than I want to admit to myself. But we're talking about faithfulness, goodness, and kindness.
Yeah.
And very, very almost a Christian hospitality sort of feel to it.
Yeah,
but
I can see that.
But the hospitality comes from these characteristics as we look for ways to reflect the character of God.
Yeah. Well, and part of this, and we talked about this last week in the podcast, these things are generated within us by the presence and work of the Holy Spirit, and they become greater, more fortified, more developed fruit as we become more and more and more the people God's created us to be, right? And so in this past week, we talked, as you said, about kindness and goodness and faithfulness, and I love kind of the overlap of those things. Specifically, this idea of the characteristics of the way that God intends us to be shaped and to be molded by the Holy Spirit, and ultimately that it's intended to be reflective of the way that God not only sees us, but interacts with us and cares for us and loves us. And we're intended to be transformed by that and then offer that to others so that they may experience those characteristics, recognizing that they come from God. So it's a conduit. We are conduits of these things.
Yes.
In the way that we produce fruit, kind of as fruit works, fruit, it falls, and what's it do? It creates more trees that create more fruit. And so as we allow this fruitfulness to be present, the hope and the expectation is that more trees and fruitfulness generate from that. So it's huge. Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
It's an ongoing analogy.
It is. Absolutely. As we go from yards to trees. Yeah, no, it's beautiful. Yeah.
But, I mentioned this last week. We're far from the first church to have done a Fruit of the Spirit
absolutely.
sermon series. Right. It's something that gets taught in grade school to children's ministries. I've got on my bulletin board here in the office, I've got something that Jack colored. Gosh, he was pre-K when he did that.
I'm sure, yeah.
And obviously a prodigy with coloring.
Clearly, all within the lines. Yeah, amazing.
That's one thing you're going to see with Jack is that he's very careful at coloring. It's not chaos. Marshall, the other hand, is very Jackson Pollocky.
Oh, I like it.
Very impressionistic.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Everywhere.
Yeah. Who needs lines?
Exactly. Don't box me in.
That's fair. I like it. They are so different.
Yeah,
they are.
One's pure chaos. One is almost crippling conformism.
Oh yeah. Oh, I like that. Yeah, they'll balance each other out.
Absolutely. I hope they do.
I hope so too. For your sake, I hope they do. Yeah. For you and Jenny are going to be in a mess if they don't have some balancing characteristics.
Our sake is an afterthought with these two.
Fair.
If we're lucky.
Just try to keep the shiny side up, boys. Just keep the shiny side up.
I told someone yesterday that Jack will either, at some point in his life, he will either save the world or destroy it, depending on his mood.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I've said that on some level kind of about John. John is our second child, and he's going into his junior year next year. And John is unbelievably smart to the point that, I'm surprised he is not currently, and I'm not sure that he isn't, plotting his way to take over the world. And I think he would do that in the best of ways. I really believe that. But he is so ridiculously capable, and it scares me sometimes. Like, he got all the good parts of Jenny and all the good parts of me, Yeah. And James, in many ways, got those same kind of good parts of Jenny and good parts of me, but they got completely different parts. It's just amazing. I don't know.
It's funny how God works with the formation of our kids and what they pick up, and different kids are going to pick up on different things, just personality wise, and
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
They're both amazing.
which is another reason why these characteristics of God that we reflect are reflected through us to our children.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and that's kind of the nature of that, right? I mean, shouldn't the fruitfulness that we that is generated in us by the presence and work of the Holy Spirit ultimately inspire and inform the fruitfulness that's generated within our children, who are the response to God's command in Genesis to go and to be fruitful and multiply? Oh, right. I mean, that's a whole series in and of itself.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I think that's solid stuff. And we're not talking about necessarily that way of looking at it, though I have mentioned the Genesis, kind of moment there of be fruitful and multiply. But that multiplication happens through fruitfulness.
Yeah.
That's why this is
That's
so important.
quotable. Yeah. That can be a quote graphic.
I like it.
Out on the socials.
Yeah, good stuff.
But it's also very, very true. I mean, and the whole push during this sermon series has been, our faith is what brings us to these qualities, and these qualities, as we reflect them, are for other people to take in. Yeah. And it's not, our kids are the people who know us best, are around us the most. They're the ones who are going to see the weak points and the strong points for us. But as we go out into the community, and you mentioned last week that you pushed on some folks with an earlier sermon series about where are you showing this in your life? Yeah. I mean, and when it's a direct conversation that someone's having, it kind of puts you're putting yourself on blast with, am I doing this faithfully?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Well, and I think that's been kind of the nature of it, right? Like, we need to be faithful in our utilization, in our acknowledgement, and in our propensity to allow ourselves to be shaped for the sake of fruitfulness. And realize, again, that that's not merely for us. It's for propagation of other people that are followers of Christ and their development, right? Their discipleship, their maturation, all of those things are tied into the fruit. The fruit is representative of the overall health of the organism. Right? A healthy tree does not produce healthy fruit. In the same sense, somebody who is kind of dabbling in this Christian life is not going to have the evidence of the fruit that's going to be present in somebody who's all in. Yeah. Right? Like if you take a plant, and Scripture tells us, the plant that's by water is not affected by these negative things, right? It literally is tied to its kind of sustenance. And so we need to be connected to the water of life. Mm-hmm. We need to be connected to those things that are fertilizing and building up of the fruit. And then we need to recognize that that's not just merely for us. That's for the sake of others that we encounter. And Paul does this amazing job of like covering that, not only in Galatians, but also in Ephesians and Colossians, as he talks about, being clothed, if you will, is one of the ways that he says it, that he desires for us to be clothed in kindness, right? That's just a singular example of one of the ones that we've covered on Sunday, but like this being clothed in kindness is massive. Like if you look the part of kindness in the way that you treat others and talk to people, then the result is that you're being perceived and understood as having this characteristic fruit that's tied to the kindness that's sourced from God, right? I mean, so it's all a very cyclical thing. So yeah, I like it a lot.
And even that has levels it can go through, because I mean, you can have just a welcoming persona,
sure,
versus being just genuinely kind.
Yeah, well, and so that's one of the neat things that we talked about even 2 weeks ago, as we were looking at these kind of comparisons between the 9 things that are illustrated as the fruit of the Spirit, and then the things before it that are works of the flesh, right? And the works of the flesh are things that can be faked. Yeah. But the fruit of the Spirit is not something you can fake. Now, you may do a really good job of looking like you're fruitful in one way, right? But it's pretty hard for you to fake peace, right? It's pretty difficult for you to fake joy or to fake love. And certainly it's hard for you to fake all 3 of those. And that's without adding on the kindness and the goodness, right? And the patience and the gentleness and the self-control and like all of these things, which are kind of part and parcel with this discussion. You cannot fake those things.
No.
Not effectively.
No. But those are also the things that if someone is just around you for a brief amount of time, they pick up on something's different about that person.
That's right. Yeah.
Something's immediately calming from them. Something is immediately, I feel at ease when I'm with them. That's how that manifests, even in brief interactions with people.
Absolutely. Absolutely it is. Well, and I think that's part of the reason, like on Sundays, we talk about these things. This idea, I mean, the word, here I go again, typical. The Greek word for kindness is Christotes.
For those keeping count, that's one for today.
One for today. Christotes. Yeah. And this Christotes is interesting. There's a lot of speculation about whether or not Christotes was a word that ultimately informed a name that was common amongst slaves at that point in time, where they'd be named and they'd be called Christos or Christo. And the idea there is that because of that, because of this tendency for them to be recognized as Christos, which is to say, one who is offering kindness in the context of service. Like they wanted these people that were servants that had a kindness and about them. And so there's an argument among some theologians that this Christotes, this idea of being the kind one, ultimately was kind of part and parcel with the way that we began to be called Christians, Christianos, in Acts chapter 11. It's the first time we see the word Christians ever be used, Acts 11:26, and it says, this idea of being, well, actually, the way that it said is, and when he had found him, he brought him to Antioch. For a whole year, they met with the church and taught a great many people. And in Antioch, the disciples were first called Christians, right? And so there's this kind of a play, like this Christian concept in the Greek sounds not terribly different than the word that's used for the slave. And so as we submit ourselves to God, we're able to become more and more and more fruitful, more and more and more evident of these things, right? So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of wordplay here.
And isn't that submission? That's where I think that's one of the big cruxes of where humanity struggles.
Yeah,
because I mean, if you don't submit to God, then it just ripples out from there.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's absolutely the case. Well, but I think too that like as we're kind of wrapping our heads around that, this idea of submission to God is an undeniable identifier of us being God's children, right?
Yeah,
and so we have to be recognizable in that way. Where in a sense that we lose our identity because we take on the identity of Christ, right? Like that's it. Like full submission.
Yes,
means that we look more like Jesus than we do like Mark and Jeremy.
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
absolutely. And that's why I mean they talk about how full sanctification is the absence of sin.
Yeah,
and that comes from just letting go of it all.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
and that's a process to get to. But man,
yeah,
what an amazing place to be.
Oh, it is. It's so good when you don't have to be concerned about your efforts to make yourself identifiable. Right, like when the work of the Spirit, your faithfulness, and your submission to the work of the Spirit within you as it transforms you, generates good work that you would never be able to do on your own. That's strong, man.
Yeah.
Like even at our best efforts, we're going to fall short of the glory of God.
Sure.
But through the power and work of the Holy Spirit, we can be taken to a place that we would never achieve on our own. And that's not just about like the earthly experience, right? Like that's the transcendent experience.
Yeah.
It's life in the presence of God, right? That's huge. We should be bringing the kingdom of earth, the kingdom of heaven to earth, right? Like God's kingdom should be brought to earth through his work and his work through us. And that's a big deal, man. So people should experience that and see it and be like, wow, they're so different. What is it? And then we have the opportunity to say, it's Jesus. You know,
Yes.
that's the answer. So,
And which goes from the next person to the next person to the next person to the next person.
Yeah.
There was an illustration we had back when I was doing elementary camps.
yeah.
And it was part of communion.
Yeah.
For the communion ceremony. This is for third, fourth, fifth graders, sixth graders, and all pantomimed because this was the 90s and that's what you did back then.
Yeah.
But somebody would take an imaginary needle and thread it into the heart of the next person, and then you would thread you pantomime it,
interesting.
and it would just go through the entire camp. So everybody's moving moving the
Yarn?
thread,
Yeah.
the yarn or thread or whatever
Yeah.
you want to say it was, from like their heart to the next person, and they're passing it. And so you have this entire room full of 50, 60, 70 kids all passing imaginary yarn. And then it automatically makes its way back to the original person.
Oh, it's interesting.
And they inject back into their heart.
Yeah.
This is great audio podcast for by the way, all my hand motions. And
Yeah,
everything.
it looks like he's pantomiming.
Yeah, poorly at that.
that's all right.
But it's just part of
Are
how
you trapped in a box, Mark? I'm sorry.
a glass cage of emotion.
Yeah.
But it's all about, how we're all, part of that family of Christ.
Yeah.
And all joined together in this sacrament.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, and it's just, that shared part of that oneness
Yeah.
of Christ. And it just so good.
It is
So
good. It is good. I mean, we're going to be covering a lot of that stuff. We covered some of it this past week. We're going to cover more next week as we look at these topics and we finish up.
Michael's
Michael's
preaching.
going to be preaching, which is going to be awesome. We talked about that last week. We'll talk about it again.
Tallest preaching person on staff.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a tree.
He dwarfs me, and I'm not really short, but I mean he's tall.
Micah may have to adjust the lights.
I think that's fair. Micah may need to get something to stand on. So the screen, the camera can actually capture them in appropriate scale. I don't know. Anyway, so
We'll dig a trench for him to preach from.
I like it.
It's like how Tom Cruise does.
Okay. I got you. I see what you're doing there. Yeah. So anyway, but Michael's going to be preaching. It's going to be great. We'll have a good time. And I hope you guys will be here for that. And it'll be celebration of our seniors, all of our high school seniors. You got to be careful when you say seniors. Not our seniors by age, but our seniors by graduating from high school. And so there'll be time for them to be celebrated, and we'll be
breakfast
acknowledging
before
them.
the service.
Yeah.
I keep saying I want it to be Senior Sunday and have like huevos rancheros for that breakfast.
Okay. I see where you're going
Senior
there.
Sunday.
I think that'd be fun. Well, if you know anybody that's a senior, or if you're a senior and you're listening to this and you are graduating and you want to be recognized and you want to come and play a part in this meal,
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
We want to have you, and it'll be a lot of fun. And I promise it won't be overly embarrassing. I mean, let's face it, Michael's preaching. He's not going to embarrass you near as much as I would, I hope. And it'll be wonderful. So
Yeah, come on. It's going to be a great day. And the Mother's Day was, last week. And then we got Father's Day coming up where we're going to have 0 photo booths.
Yeah, that's our go-to. Dads don't like photos, but they really, really, really like to get out of church early.
So we're gonna end the worship service that day, and then I'll go down to the Trustful Entertainment District, and just they got these big pavilions with long tables. We're gonna go sit down
Lots
there.
of restaurants.
Yeah, everybody
Yeah.
just go get what you want.
That's right. And of course, if you've got things that you're doing with your family, go do it. But if you don't have something you're doing with your family on Father's Day, come with us.
Come on.
We're going to have a great time. We'll sit around and we'll hang out and we'll have some food. And I'm sure there'll be some type of sport on the big screen or something. It'll be wonderful. Yeah, we'll have a good time.
Yeah, come on. You do have plans after worship.
You do.
Regardless.
That's right. Regardless, you're going with us and we're going to get lunch.
And after lunch, there's still time to go home, take that nap.
Yeah. It's Father's Day. I'll be napping. That's it right there.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, that's the food and nap. That's
Leave me
it.
alone.
Oh, I like it. Hey, get out of my yard, kids. Yeah, I don't know. It feels, yeah.
You are settling into the older dad mode.
It scares me. Am I becoming Hank Hill? Oh my gosh.
Propane accessories. Yeah.
A large pie, a fry, and a coffee. I mean, I feel like that's because I don't eat those things, but I definitely feel like there is a part of me that is becoming more and more.
But you associate with it.
I do. I associate with it.
What's funny is that you're doing all the stuff. I'm the older of the two of us. I just started drinking coffee like 3 months ago, so
I love coffee.
it's a midlife thing for me, I think.
You know, one of the things that and this is not for me to like harp on, carnivore, because I don't talk about this on a regular basis on the podcast, but in September I started this carnivore, diet experiment, for myself, and everything is, I'm responding really well to it. I love it. But I think one of my favorite things, I always like coffee. Now I like it even more. And you know why? Because I don't use like the junk creamer with all of the chemicals and the flavoring in it.
Yeah.
I use heavy whipping cream.
Yeah.
And I froth it and I put it in my coffee and it's like a little cup of heaven. And I It's one of my favorite things in the world. I look forward to my caffeinated coffee on the mornings, a cup or two. And then many nights, Jenny and I will get home and make a decaf pot, which I have historically been absolutely against the concept of decaf coffee. Apparently now as I age, it keeps me from sleeping to have regular coffee beyond 6 o'clock. And so now I'm drinking decaf coffee. Oh my gosh. And I'm still doing that.
You could get that at the Piccadilly buffet
yeah,
around 4 p.m.
That's right. To go with my Lupper. And so anyway, that's what my life has become. It's excitement about coffee and heavy whipping cream, and no concerns about the implication that has to my waistline. So it's really, really good. I'm really getting old. If you can relate to this, share the podcast with somebody else who may get a kick out of the fact that you've got two guys who are nearing 50 way faster than they want to be.
Yeah.
And we've now come to the point in our lives where we're excited about coffee and heavy whipping cream. So
there you go. There you go. Hey, this has been great. We will see you guys next week on the Clear Branch Methodist Podcast.